Hey, what is going on everybody? My name is Ryan and welcome to a brand new video. In this video we're going to talk about internet Go servers. Specifically, what are the most popular Go servers out there, how to play on them, and what are the player bases like? What are some pros and cons to play on each server? Today I'm going to talk about all of that, and at the end I'll also give a few recommendations myself on which server I think you should play on. All links are in the description. If you're new around here and not familiar with the game yet, feel free to check out our introduction to Go videos. Without further ado, let's take a look at the list of Go servers.
IGS is a very popular Go server in the English Go community. It can be accessed through this website. It runs on a Java platform, meaning that you need to download Java from Oracle in order for it to run. The good thing about that is not only can it run very smoothly on Windows and Mac, if you have a different operating system than those two, you could download the raw JAR file and it should run pretty easily as long as you have Java installed. Although IGS is not built into the app stores, you can access IGS on mobile by using their web interface. The web interface is relatively simple. As you can see, it's still in beta, but most of the features are there. After downloading the client as well as Java, IGS should be able to open, and a window like this should pop up. Click on Play on IGS, and to create a new username, type in the desired one and press Guess with no password. Since I already have an account, I'm going to just log on. Here you see the main window of IGS. The client is relatively old-fashioned and it looks a little bit dull. So if you don't mind that, you should be okay. If you're a guest, you need to press on User and click the Register button, where it will prompt you to fill out your email, and it will send you an email with the password. IGS has a few unique features, including this room list. There are multiple rooms that you can join, and to join a new room, click on Room and Room List, and there are multiple rooms with different tabs. You can see there are clubs, there's social, there's tournaments, etc. And after selecting a desired room, press Join to join the room. Now, most of the games are here, so that's why the active games and open games are typically automatically opened on all accounts. I typically find the most amount of players in this English Game Room tab. To start a game, when you press Custom Game, a window like this will pop up. On this window, there are many different modes, and if this is your first time on IGS, this can be a little bit confusing. Most people play ranked games, so those are games that will count towards your rank going up or down. If you're a new player, you'll have a question mark. And for a player with question marks to get a solid rank, you would have to play multiple games. And in the beginning, your rank is very unstable. So if you just go in and win against someone that's very strong, then you'll be a relatively high ranked question mark. And after a few games, you should be able to establish a solid rank without a question mark beside your rank. So that's with ranked games. In addition to ranked games, a nice feature in IGS is that you can play not only free games, but you could also play Rango, which is where you have 4 players, and it's basically Team Go, where you, with a teammate, play against 2 other players. There's also a simul feature where one player can play against multiple players, and I believe you can just add as many as you want, really. Very nice for teaching. And there's also demonstration, which I will show you now. This is, in my opinion, one of the best features on IGS is the editing feature. As you can see here, when you put stones down, these are regular moves, but if you just go to edit, it's very convenient to create SGF files. So if you're a Go teacher or you like to take notes of different Go shapes, I'd say IGS or the C Go Band 3 editor is a very good choice. One of the big drawbacks about KGS, in my opinion, is that there's not that many players, and also to start a game, it does take a while because let's say I want to start a game. When I check the open list, it will not only show up in the room that I create, but also show up in the Open Games tab. As you can see, my game is showing up right here. Now, when you create the game, you have to wait for someone to challenge. For example, if I create the game, the person who challenges me, their name is going to show up here. And then I can check the time settings, like handicap, and then press OK again, and then the game starts. So there's no auto match feature, and that can get a little tedious sometimes. Now, since an English game room typically has the most number of players, you can see it's not that many. And I find that most players on KGS are around between 1Q to about 1 Dan level. And if you're not in that range, it can typically take a little while before you're able to find an opponent. I think KGS is overall a very good client for players who already are in the Go community. If you have friends that play Go and want to kind of gather, you could have demonstration rooms to show each other games. You could play Ultra Blitz with each other. You could really set these to whatever you want. But due to the fact that it's relatively old-fashioned and not very beginner-friendly, I think it's kind of losing its player base in recent years. However, they have made KGS Plus free, which is a small membership feature in which you could listen to English professional Go lectures, which is very nice. The online Go server is a relatively new Go server, and it's completely browser-based, which solves all compatibility issues because all you need to do is open a browser and go to the link, and you're in. It's available in multiple different languages, and the interface looks really nice. It's relatively modern, and it's very user-friendly. You can play games, you could chat, do puzzles, review Foxweiqi, enter tournaments, and have ladders and groups, etc. To make an account, it's super quick. Press sign in, and you could even log in with your socials or create a regular account. Once you've created an account, you could log in, and this is my main page right now after I log in. And you can see I have actually my actual name here because I think one of the admins gave me the account after I played in a tournament. And they have kind of a similar rating system as the Chess ELO. You can see the rank graph, your game history, and some reviews and demos. Now, what I really like about this OGS feature is that if you review a game, there's actually a basic AI feature on here, even though I think it's relatively simple. But I think it's really nice because it's really convenient to have a simple AI do the review, and you could even toggle between the win rate as a percentage or score, and it's all free. I'm not paying for this or anything, so I think that's a really nice feature. The review is actually quite nice as well. It's relatively volatile. The only slight annoying thing is you have to press review the game, and sometimes when you're in the review and you click something, you do have to press this. There's a little sync button, so if you're watching a review, you could play moves yourself as well, but then you'll kind of deviate from the main review. So watch out for that if you're watching someone else's review. The other feature that OGS is known for is the ability to play correspondence games, which are games where the time limit is very relaxed, and you could play a move every few days. I think you have at least 7 days to play a move, which is really good for people who have tight schedules and don't want to sit down for an extended period of time, and you can still play a game of Go. Although I would advise against it if you want to improve. It's really important to play live games. I won't go into the details for that, but for correspondence games, people typically just play a move and not think about it, and you would also lose your thought process along the way. Personally, I'm still in the middle of figuring out many of these awesome features on OGS. mainly because I'm very nostalgic and I'm lazy. And when I want to play a game quickly, I just kind of hop on a KGS because I'm familiar with the features and I know the people there. And, I kind of just go there. But OGS is really nice for new players. The interface is easy. You can create an account. And, when you press play, you could just select which type of board size and you select the game. And there are many available computers to play as well. So, if you're new to the game, just hop onto this website and create an account, and you can get started as fast as possible. The Foxgo server is owned by Tencent, a company from China. The primary languages are Chinese, Korean, and Japanese, but it does have an English version. However, we can only access the English version after downloading the client using the Chinese version. Although the download says foreign, we could only select the language after it's been downloaded. Foxweiqi is only available on Windows as the download link is an exe file. However, you can get around it using third-party softwares in Mac and Linux. On a Windows computer, here's how you install it. It's literally just running the exe and pressing install. On Mac and Linux, it's a lot more complicated because you do have to get around it using third-party software. On screen, what you're looking at is a video that I made a while back with Harrison, where we installed Fox on Windows and Mac. So if you're interested, go ahead and watch that video. But due to the time constraint, I will not be able to include it in this video. So hopefully you're able to get it installed. And if the language is showing different from English, you can press the icon on the upper right and there should be a language option here, and you can change it to English and then restart the client. To register an account, click the register button and it will take you to a website link where you can register, and it's a relatively quick process. I already have an account, so I'm going to log in here. This is what the interface looks like. On the left side, these are the current games that are going on. And as you can see there, I just got someone who invited me to play game, and then you can accept or decline all of this person's matches. And then on the right column, you see a list of all the players. In the lower right, it's actually news and events, and there's the chat on the bottom here. What I really love about Fox is that there is an auto match feature, which is pretty standard on a Go server. I think I'm just really used to this, and I think that it's really amazing. Now, unfortunately, I won't be able to play the game here, but it's really nice because when you auto match, it finds an opponent, and then you request them, and then they can accept or decline when the room is already open. There's also a automatic quick match feature, I believe it's called. And when you press that button, it finds the opponent similar to your rank and starts the game automatically on certain time settings, which eliminates this whole process of pressing this button and waiting for the person and pressing the request. And you can also decline matches by pressing this button here. What's really, really great about this server is you can see the amount of users right here. You might not be able to see this very clearly, but it says 23,873, which is really a lot. It's so many people that are online right now, and pretty much at any level, unless you're really, really high at 8, 9 Dan, you can find an opponent pretty easily. And that's really the reason why most players go through all the trouble to get on Fox. I mean, what's better than logging on and being able to play a game right away, anytime that you want? Another really nice feature about Fox is the sheer amount of professional players. You can see here, okay, so that's Koje right there. If you double-click a player's name, you can see it's Koje 9P right there. All the pros have their real names. And if you see the golden crown, you see here it says the world champion. They all have the golden crowns. All the silver crowns are national champions. So if I click this one, so that's Shibano right there, and it's a national champion or world vice champion. Okay, I think that means world runner-up. There's so many pros on there. If you have a favorite pro that you like to watch, this is the place to go. If you like watching pros play and fight it out, this is the place to go. If you want to watch broadcast, this is also a very good place to do it. Overall, I think Fox is a great server because of its relatively fine user interface, its ease of finding players, its huge player base, and the amount of top players on the server. Of course, there is that first barrier of actually getting on here, but after you're set up on Fox, this is the place to go to spend a few hours a night, kill some time, play some fast games, or if you want to tune into what's going on in the top world Go competitions. The Tygem Go server is another Go server based in Asia. However, they have a relatively okay English version right here. After you go to tygemgo.com, you can actually just press the direct file download link, and it should download an exe file. And as you know, for exe files, it's only available in Windows. But if you have a Mac or Linux, there are ways around it. I won't cover that, just like the Fox video. So if you have a Windows computer, it's easily accessible. But if you don't, then you might have a little bit of trouble getting to play here. After you download the client, I'll show you where to register and such. There's also Chinese and Korean versions that I'm aware of, and I believe there's also a Japanese version, but I'm not very familiar with that. And you can see the website is actually a little different, but they all point to the same server, and you can play against players in all of these countries, no matter which version of the client you download, similar to Foxweiqi that we covered earlier. Without getting too much into the installation details, it should be basically just pressing next, 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 and done. You get to this interface. If you don't have an account already, you can press registration, and it should open a link where the registration process is usually okay, never mind. Well, that was embarrassing. My client actually crashed, and that really tells you how awkward it is to run Windows applications sometimes on Macs. Anyway, yeah, I'm using a Mac, that's why it's being a little unstable. But to register, actually, it's actually very easy. On the tygemgo.com, all you have to do is just press this link, and it's a very simple registration. You just fill in some basic information, and you can actually select rank all the way up to 3 Dan, which is a pretty good wide range for most players. Now, after you register an account, then you can press login, and the interface is relatively similar to the Fox one. I don't think it's too different. And Tygem is probably one of the oldest basic Go interfaces. Tygem used to be so popular, and so many pros played on it. But after a while, Fox kind of kicked in, and they had a lot of big prize money tournaments online, which attracted a lot of the top professional players and also a lot of the other player bases. The functionality between Fox and Tygem are pretty much the same. There's like a quick match feature, there's an auto match where you create a room and you find someone. There is a bit of a problem with Tygem recently, though, is that there's just so many bots online. People use AIs to play against other people, which I personally absolutely detest. I think there's no reasonable argument as to why you should be doing that against other people without telling them. But it's a thing, and that's why I've been getting back down to 8 Dan and losing so many games. But anyway, aside from that, I don't think you'll encounter too many of that unless you're like really, really strong, and say in the 7 to 9 Dan level on these servers. The player base is actually quite wide, although right now I'm actually logged on at a probably not the best time, because it's 5 a.m. in Asia right now. However, there's still like a few thousand players, as you can see, all the different servers online. Many of these features between Tygem and Fox are very similar. As you can see, the interface is similar. The installation process is very similar as well. The player base is higher in Fox. So if you haven't tried out any of these servers and you're looking to try, then I would go with Fox because it's more popular and more frequently updated. One thing I forgot to mention about the Fox and Tygem servers is that actually a big difference is on Fox you can have these fine art reviews. For any game, if you press that blue button, you can actually look at the winning percentage of the whole game. And if you actually press that button, it will tell you where fine art would have played. I believe. Yeah, so you see there, fine art would have played there. So, and I think it would show also variation. Yeah, so you can see the variation of the top moves by the AI. Now, because Go AIs are so popular nowadays, I don't think this is really necessary because you can just download like Lilo Zero Catago on your laptop, and it actually runs pretty fine for most players. I mean, in terms of strength, you don't really have to worry about it being not strong enough typically. It's a nice little added function, but it does cost these little tries. Like if I press that, the first time I press that button I review for this game, it actually drains some type of points that you get, and you can get free points by signing in every day or something like that. Again, it's just a little bonus feature and probably not necessary for most. Pandanet is probably one of the oldest Go servers out there because I remember all the way back in 2002, it was already available. Most of you probably know Pandanet by the City League, which is a tournament sponsored by Pandanet every year. It's a team Go tournament between cities, and the finals is played at the US Go Congress typically. Now, to install Pandanet, it's actually quite straightforward. If you go on their website, you can there's a big button, play on Pandanet. If you want to register an account, you can do that easily here, and you can install the client. Pandanet is available on both desktops and mobile, and you don't have to worry about compatibility with other devices, I believe. At least for Windows, Mac, and Linux. I'm not too sure about Chromebook, but if someone runs Chromebook, they might let me know in the comments. To run Pandanet after you download it, I'm not going to go over the installation because it's actually literally just pressing one button, or maybe a few buttons. Oh, it actually logged me in right away, but if you open the client, if I log out there, it will open this home page, and then you can fill in your login information, login. I actually really like the interface because it's very smooth and quite simple. As you can see on the home screen, there is a quick start dashboard on the right-hand column. If you want to observe some games, play some games, or you can actually play Parago very easily on this server as well. If we go to the Rooms tab, right now I'm in the main room up here. I think you can just select whichever you want to join. As you can see, I select Euro Team Champs, and I'm automatically in this room. And you can go to the Silly Room, or you can go to the main room. And as you can see right now, there's a total of about just under 1,200 players, which is quite decent, and I believe that's a lot more than KGS you would get on KGS. And because this server is based in Japan, you should expect quite a few Japanese players to be online. So this is probably still not the prime time. Right now it's about 5 a.m. in Asia, but if you go log on at nighttime, there should be a lot more players, I believe, compared to this you see here. There's also an interesting feature on OGS, and there's kind of like half ranks. For example, here you see some players being 60, but other players being 60 plus. So there's technically 2 ranks in between. So you could be a strong 60 or a regular 60. And I think that's a very unique feature for this server. And the other thing is that rather than KGS, you can actually right-click people and challenge them, which makes it a bit easier to find opponents, I think. But there is no auto-match feature, which is a downside. A few honorable mentions before we end off this video. Dragon Go server is a Go server where you can play correspondence games. Tygem Baduk is also a server based in Korea. I believe it's the second most popular server in Korea. And GoQuest, where you can play a lot of mobile games. Now, a quick summary of what we talked about. In terms of accessibility, this is the ranking that I gave. OGS definitely has the best because you can just open a browser and play on it. Next is Pandanet, which has multiple interfaces and apps, and also has a mobile. KGS is next because it's built on Java, and as long as you have Java installed, you should be able to run it. And then finally, we have Fox and Tygem, which are about the same in terms of accessibility. And here I'm not counting the foreign apps, because if you have an app, you can actually download a Tencent app or a Tygem app using an iPad or mobile as well. So in that case, then we might have the same between Fox and Tygem versus KGS. In terms of player base, I think Fox definitely by far wins over all the other servers right now. And then it's Tygem, and then OGS. And then I think OGS is a similar player base as Pandanet, so I gave them about the same, and then finally KGS.
That is going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy, don't forget to drop a like. Also, feel free to leave a comment on what your favorite Go server is and why. If you're new around here, don't forget to subscribe. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you all later.